Welcome to the Sauce Pod.
Welcome back to the Sauce Pod. I am Taylor, your host of the Sauce. I've got Anna here with me, co-hosting, content creator, and editor of the Sauce newsletter. We release a new episode wherever you stream your podcast, so Spotify, Apple, or you can catch the podcast as a video on YouTube every week as well. And don't forget, we also have the Sauce Weekly newsletter that hits your inbox every Monday night. And you can also find us regularly on Twitter Spaces, where we dive deeper every week into the topics that matter. So thanks again for tuning in. We're going to get into it, but not before I let you know that we are on Substack, so make sure that you go and subscribe. That's the only way that you'll get our newsletter in your inbox every week. If you go to the Sauce FFS, Frank Sally, or for fuck's sake, the sauceffs.substack.com. That is where you can subscribe to us and join all of the other creators who are subscribed that are getting a weekly dose of the secret sauce for growing and leveling up in the digital age every week. All right, Anna, let's get into it. We've got quite a light agenda, if you will, today. We're going to be talking about a new app on the scene, which you actually enlightened me to. So thank you for that. I'm excited to dig into it a little bit. We've also got Twitter coming up. Lots of updates always with Twitter. It's like, what happened this week? That's what that segment should be called. What the fuck is happening at Twitter this week?
Yeah.
LinkedIn is adding some algo suggested posts to boost engagement. So we got a little sauce from LinkedIn for you. Instagram is launching a new collection feature that's collaborative. Meta has been working on a Twitter competitor, and we think it might be called Barcelona. Gotta make sure I say that right.
Yeah.
Barcelona. And then we got a couple AI updates as well. The world of AI is finally starting to slow down a little bit.
Just for this week.
Exactly. I mean, I have to say, like, it's a welcome pause. No pun intended. We are going to be talking about an open letter that calls to pause AI developments. But it is a welcome, like, kind of slow down because things have just been hitting the fans so fast and furiously over the last few weeks when it comes to AI updates, developments for generative AI tools. And I, for one, have been happy to sort of like have a breather, have some room to take it all in. And so we'll talk about what this open letter is all about. We'll also talk about what Midjourney's latest update is. And it's not V5 because we already talked about that last week, but there's another one that you should know about, especially if you use the free access. So without further ado, let's get lost in the sauce, Anna. What do we got for Lemon8, which I'm a think is probably a play on the word lemonade. I don't know. Tell us what it is.
That would make sense. I didn't even make that connection in my brain. Yeah. So Lemon8 is from ByteDance. So it is from the same people that created TikTok. I guess the word on the street is that it's like Pinterest and Instagram had a baby. That's the message that keeps being repeated on all these TikTok videos of people talking about like, oh, go follow me on Lemon8. I downloaded it. I haven't like tried out posting or anything, but the scroll feed feels very Pinteresty, and then the profile does feel very Instagram-y.
Okay.
But I have seen quite a few people talking about it, especially on TikTok, and there's some chatter that this could, all the talk on TikTok could be ByteDance, like paid influencers bringing this up because it could maybe be their viable backup plan to replace TikTok if it goes under. But yeah, it's the new app on the street. I know it's in the top 10 on the most downloaded apps in the US right now. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's on the top 10. So it has gained some notability recently.
And is it like, what is the content type, or like what's the point of using Lemon8 when there's always, Instagram and currently
Right.
TikTok? Like, is it discovery content? Is it like,
It's definitely discovery. It's not focused on video at all. It's definitely like when you first log in or sign up to create an account, it asks you what you're interested in. So whether that's like, makeup or fashion or whatnot. So it's definitely more on the discovery side of things. So I could see like travel influencers using this app and posting like, oh, here's the top places to go to in Hawaii. And you're able to kind of, break it down all in one post. It's still a very new app, but it has taken over recently.
So the interesting thing that I find about this is that, of course, Lemon8 is coming on the scene at a time when there is, TikTok is kind of in the hot seat. And there
Mhm.
was a hearing last week or the week before on what the future of TikTok as an app, the legality of it in the United States would be. And so this comes at a very like opportune time to either, I think, could potentially like sidetrack some of that conversation. But at the same time, it's owned by ByteDance.
It's owned by the same company. It could get banned too. Yeah.
So it might not be the perfect like backup plan for if TikTok goes under. I know that, it could be where lawmakers are still considering like restrictions on Chinese tech altogether. And so if that's the case, bye bye ByteDance.
I
Bye
yeah.
bye Lemon8 and TikTok. I personally don't see that like happening at least anytime soon. I think that the legislative like red tape that would have to happen for that to occur would be a big deal. It's something to keep an eye on regardless. Like it's interesting that Lemon8 has climbed so quickly
Mhm.
in the App Store and that it's also a ByteDance app and that it sort of could complement TikTok. I wonder if this is like ByteDance's answer to Meta. Like
Probably.
Instagram, you
Yeah.
guys need to cut your shit, stop copying us. We're gonna do this the way that we would
Mhm.
do it. I don't know, but it's interesting nonetheless, and I'm glad that we added it on here this week because I'm sure that this is probably not the end that we'll hear about this little app. I like the name though, I have to say.
It's very cute. Yeah, if you haven't downloaded it yet, definitely check it out because it's very cute. It's very like lifestyle trends,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
All right, well, let's talk about what's happening at Twitter. We'll get that out of the way really quick. There's been a couple different updates on what could be happening or what is
Mhm.
currently happening for users on Twitter right now.
Yeah, so Elon, I guess, is shifting the For You feed. Basically, any paid, we knew this was coming, but any paid accounts are going to be pushed to the top of your For You feed at a much higher ratio than anyone you would follow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you're going to see on your For You feed is people who are paying for Twitter Blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first one. And then there's kind of a double standard going on with the business account verification. So I think we talked about it last week or the week before, but businesses and organizations are going to be charged $1,000 per month to keep their verified status. But there's an exemption for the site's top 500 advertisers and 10,000 most followed organizations like YouTube, CNN, ESPN, New York Times. So they'll be able to keep their check marks
We're not paying anything.
without paying anything. They don't have to
What?
pay anything.
The businesses that probably could afford it the most don't have to pay.
Exactly. Yeah. So one researcher found out that about half of the 220,000 Twitter Blue subscribers have less than 1,000 followers. So the people that are paying for Twitter Blue are the very small accounts
Yeah.
right now. But even though, Elon is forcing this, if you want to keep your blue check mark, you got to pay for it,
Yeah.
agenda on people, he's not going to make the people that would most likely pay for it to pay. Yeah.
I was on Spaces on Friday, and there were a bunch of notable creators and reporters on this like tech space of like internet culture. And they were hosting like another viral Twitter space called like "We're all crying and throwing up because we're getting our check marks taken away." Like it was just like obviously sarcasm and like poking fun at the situation. But it had like 1,000 people in the room. It was really interesting to like kind of be on a fly on the wall of that because we've been talking about this for the last several months and I guess now it's
Mhm.
finally happening. All those legacy check marks, except for the people who really can afford it, they're not getting it. They're not going to have to pay for it.
But there are some like notable, I guess, influencers like LeBron James who have said that
Mhm.
they're not going to pay for it. Like they don't care. They're not going to pay
Like,
for it.
no.
And the White House too. Even the White House Twitter account was like, "No, we're not going to pay for Twitter verification." Which is kind of funny.
Well,
But
open the floodgates, why don't you?
yeah.
Oh my God. All
Yeah, so
right.
that's what's happening over at Twitter with their blue check mark drama.
Well, in other news on Twitter, also, they just opened up the algorithm after teasing it out for a while, saying that they were going to do it and then they didn't. Anyway, so it all happened. It all came to a head last week. The algorithm went
Mhm.
public, not the entire thing, but like a slice of it. And a lot of researchers and reverse engineers were able to like go in and kind of identify some interesting insights that actually lead to how content is ranked, how tweets are ranked
Mhm.
on Twitter, and what shows up in your For You page versus your following. And an interesting tidbit from that is that likes are the highest metric for giving, a boost to your visibility in the algorithm. I think it's like I'll tweet it out and I'll make sure that it's in the newsletter as well, but something like
30x boost. Each like gets a 30x boost.
creating content for Twitter, I mean, the good, the bad, and the ugly is like definitely pay attention to some of those insights if you're trying to create content that gets seen by, massive audiences. Think about it from the perspective of getting likes. And then I think what was the second runner up was like replies.
Yeah, retweets was the 20x. I have it pulled up on my phone right now. That's the only reason why I know. And then reply is only 1x.
Got it. Okay. So retweets and likes, that's what you want. And then I think
Yeah.
Twitter Blue also gives you like a healthy boost to the top as well.
Yeah, I saw too if you're adding either a photo or a video into your tweet, you get automatically get a 2x boost.
I found that to be really like shocking actually, because it's like I knew that Twitter was planning to make a bigger play for like video content and photos, but I've heard whispers in the town hall of Twitter recently that have said people saying things like, is Twitter just like Instagram now? Like what the hell? And it's true because almost do a good scroll down your Twitter timeline. And I guarantee you that like a large swath of the content that you scroll through, even in just a couple minutes, time yourself, try it, is going to be like video or images, which is crazy. So that I guess that just tells me that multimedia, not just text media, but like multimedia, video, images is definitely taking priority when it comes to how Twitter ranks content in its algorithm. So,
I always thought Twitter was the one platform that didn't penalize you for having links in your tweets, but it automatically pushes you down.
oh, honey.
Yeah, I thought it was the one. I thought it was the one.
No, that was a big
Yeah.
one that came out a few weeks ago when, especially when everyone was like going private and stuff because they were getting deprioritized on timelines. And so the only way to kind of like fix that was to be private or just kind of lay off your Twitter content for a little while. Yeah, that was a big thing that came out of it, like linking. If you're linking in your first tweet, so if you're doing like a thread and you're putting a
Mhm.
link in your first tweet, it's highly recommended now not to do that just because Twitter is deprioritizing content with external links in it, which sucks. Except for from a couple different like key platforms. I think Substack, possibly YouTube, and a few other ones are still in the clear that you can link to. But you'll notice too, even people putting links out, it won't show the preview anymore. So for me, like it'll show you the preview when you open the full tweet. You'll be able to see the link preview, like the little thumbnail image.
Mhm.
But in your timeline, if it's not in the, approved list of websites, it just won't show up. It'll just show like kind of a messy looking link, which is a bummer also. Yeah, Twitter's going through it right now, man. It's rough out there. It's rough out there.
It's
And it's
ridiculous.
becoming like pay to play for literally everything. And I think that that is the future of not only Twitter, but a lot of social platforms. Where we're going with it is there's going to be some sort of fee associated with it, regardless, just if you want to create
Mhm.
content on there and be an authority or a creator with some, weight to throw around. So,
One quick sidetrack. This is
mhm.
about Instagram. When Instagram first came out with their meta verified blue checkmark shit, they at first were like, if you pay, you're going to get extended reach or increased reach. And they've now removed that from all of their blue.
What?
Yeah. So part of me is like, do we really trust that? Like,
No, we don't.
I don't really trust that, but they are in their little bullet points of what you get for paying the what is it,
Mhm.
$12 a month. That's been removed from it, which I think is interesting. But I do agree with you. I feel like, any platform out there is going to start charging you and they're
Oh, yeah.
it's almost like they're masking it with this blue check mark. And you get all these other different bullet points, this little list that you get with the $12 you pay.
Part of it is just like the social clout of the exclusivity factor. And that's always going to be like a winning marketing tactic when you say like, well, you pay for it, but you get to look really cool. You get a check mark. Whether or not that actually means anything to people these days, I don't know, but clearly it's working for some people. I'm not going to pay for any of these platforms until I see some like valid use case and proof that it actually works. And then even then, I'm going to be very selective about where I put my money. But that
Mm-hmm.
goes back to this whole idea of the future of social, I think, is going to be paid, especially as we move away from being like an advertising focused attention to creator focused attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the past decade of social media and even longer than that, like these massive social giants have been collecting their revenue from ad revenue, and that comes in the form of user data that they can then use to target ads to. And with crackdowns happening on user data across the board, and with the third party cookie going away, and with the shift, the pivot to really like uplift, support, and monetize creators, more and more people are going to like be pouring their support and their funds directly into the pockets of the people. And I think part of that too is directly into the pockets of these social platforms in exchange for some of these perks. And who knows, maybe there will be ultimately some sort of like a creator revenue share at some point around platform subscriptions. We already know that like subscriptions for individual creators are already kind of everywhere. But maybe there will be some sort of like affiliate program later down the line for like Meta, for Twitter, of creators being like, hey, if you subscribe to Twitter Blue, you get this much off if you use my code XOXO Gossip Girl 20. But you'll get your blue check mark and you get exclusive access to my content. I don't think that that's far off. I mean, we already pay. Think about all the subscriptions we pay for, like from Netflix to Canva.
I have to keep an eye on mine.
I know, right? They get out of hand so fast. So I feel like the mentality is like, oh, what's another like $8 a month for a social platform?
Right.
Like that's sort of the way that we're moving. I'm not a fan personally, but
Me either. It really does suck to think that you're gonna have to, if you're not paying these platforms, your reach is going to be pushed down. Even if you do create good content and you have all your ducks in a row and you have your SEO lined up,
totally.
if you're not paying for it, you're not going to get your posts pushed out as
No, it's
you would in the past. It really does suck.
Well, and it's like the social media has always sort of been like the great equalizer, because any
Hmm.
person from any socioeconomic background, setting, like age range, niche, whatever, could just, as long as you have a mobile phone and you could create or capture content, like you have a chance at striking it out, making it viral, monetizing, growing a brand. It's a little bit harder with these barriers to entry now, because it definitely creates this sort of like elitism around,
Yeah.
it's pay to play. That's what it is. So it's like, it's no longer the great democratizer of content. It's whoever has the most chips to throw into the pot gets seen, which
Hmm.
sucks. I think that things will be popping up in the future to come that sort of like combats that ideology a little bit and puts the power back into the hands of like literally the creators. But it's going to be a minute. I think Web3 might have something to do with that, but I digress. There's a lot there to unpack, so we won't go into it. But let's keep chucking through some of the stuff we've got on this list. This was a happy one for me this week. LinkedIn. We haven't had a good LinkedIn update in a hot second. So tell us, Anna, what is she doing over there with her algorithms?
She's chilling. She's chilling. Yeah, so up until now, you're really only seeing people that you follow on your LinkedIn page
Hmm.
or people that you follow that have interacted with other posts. That's really
Hmm.
all you're seeing on your like For You or your homepage on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is going to start introducing suggested posts, which is basically like algorithm recommended content based on your interest, kind
Hmm.
of following, on the trend of TikTok. This is just a good one because, you're going to start seeing some other posts, maybe finding new people to follow based off of what you were interested in. And
Hmm.
LinkedIn keeps me happy. LinkedIn and YouTube and Snapchat, they
Yes.
seem to like stay out of the drama and they're like, we're just doing our thing. We know what works for our audience base. We're good.
Yeah, LinkedIn's always kind of like a tried and true. She just gets out there and does it. I like that this is happening though, because I think it also shows a glimpse of like what the future of a lot of social platforms are going to look like just on their home feeds. Like you've already seen it with, of course, Instagram, the discover page, TikTok, which revolutionized the for you page, and then, Twitter jumping on board. Now LinkedIn on board with it, where it's no longer just strictly your content is no longer going to be siloed strictly by who you follow. It's going to be a broad mix, probably using some like AI induced algorithm to determine what your interests are based on what you're already engaging with. And so I think this is a good thing for a few reasons. Number one, it's users get more access and discoverability to content that they wouldn't otherwise see without like going out of their way to look for it. So that's the benefit for users, because sometimes, timelines get stale, even with LinkedIn. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? I've already
Yeah.
seen this 8
Yeah.
times. So that'll be good. And then number two, for creators, not only on LinkedIn, but all of these platforms, it means, I think, a bigger chance and bigger opportunity for discoverability, a bigger chance to get seen, because your content then gets grouped into an interest grouping with other content along the same lines. So, if you're posting and posting and posting, and then you're not seeing much traction, and then suddenly you do, it might be because there's like that switch over, especially on LinkedIn. But a lot of these platforms, same thing, where the recommendations are spanning out and sort of like a spider map of where your content is getting recommended. So I'm into it. I'm here for it. Let's talk Instagram. Speaking of Meta and all the things, what's going on with collaborative collections?
Yeah, so this is you've already seen the save button all over Instagram. We know
Mm-hmm.
what the save button is. So this is basically giving you the access to be able to save that content or whatever content you're seeing into like a little album that you can then share with your friends on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Basically it's just giving you, like, if you wanted to create a little collection based off of travel because you're traveling to New York that month and you're finding these new posts on Instagram that you all want to save to this one collection, and then you can kind of share that album with your friends. That's what this is. So it's kind of a simple one, but I've also noticed that it's changed kind of the UI, like UX within Instagram whenever you go to save a post, because it got really frustrating because I like to like organize my save posts
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. But when you're scrolling through the Reels feed and you save a post before this update happened, it wouldn't allow you to save the post to a collection from the Reels feed. You could do it from your home feed, but not the Reels. So now you're able to kind of organize your save post a little better.
And people can collaborate on it, right? So like if you have like a collection, you can invite other people to like add into it. It kind of reminds me of like a Pinterest board, a collaborative Pinterest board, when you're like
Yeah,
at a trip or planning a bachelorette party and everyone's like on this Pinterest board. So you
right.
can kind of do that in Instagram now, which is awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good little update from Instagram. And then how do you say it? Barcelona? How do you say it, Taylor?
Barcelona.
I can't. So rumor has it that that's the code name for Meta's new text-based app that we've talked about a couple times.
Mhm.
So this is the Twitter competitor that Meta is supposedly working on, that's built on a similar framework to Mastodon, which is like that decentralized nature of an app. So who is it that I never know how to say his name, and I always feel bad when I mispronounce people's names.
Alessandro Paluzzi.
There we go. So he posted a screenshot, and it's a server that's going to only be able to join via invitation.
Okay.
So you'll be able to invite people from your Instagram account, is what we're seeing here. This app won't need any new sign on or sign up. It'll be accessed through like your same credentials as you have in your Instagram. So that's kind of what we're seeing. It's a little sneak peek into what we could potentially see from this new app from Meta.
Okay. I know we've been waiting on that. We reported on the leak a couple weeks ago, and
Mm-hmm.
Meta confirmed it that they are working on this. Meta is officially going after Twitter on this. I'm excited to see it. I wonder if Barcelona is actually the real name, or if it's like a code name. I wouldn't hate it if that's the real name. I kind of like it. It's like sounds like a Mac OS system or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
But I'm here for it. I am very open to Twitter alternatives, even though that's kind of like my space these days.
Hmm.
I'm ready. I'm ready for Twitter to just like fall by the wayside,
Just
not gonna lie.
disappear.
Like, I'm over it. I love it. I love the people there. I love the content there, but the platform itself is like insufferable. So
Hmm.
I would not hate if Barcelona launched and I could give it a test run. So we shall see. All right, well, on to the AI scoop this week. As we mentioned earlier, a little bit of a slowdown, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing, although there was an open letter that kind of shook up the scene that came around last week. It's an open letter on futureoflife.org, and essentially it is the signatories on it is like over 1,000 plus tech leaders, including Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak of Apple. And it's been kind of shaking things up, making waves. It's calling for a 6-month pause in AI development. And the letter itself highlights concerns, right, around AI is developing so rapidly. There's huge potential risks to society, to humanity, to technology. Basically, this letter is calling for a 6-month pause on training any AI systems more powerful than GPT-4, which, if you recall, is the latest large language model released by OpenAI that kind of builds onto ChatGPT. So
Hmm.
they're saying, let's pause any AI developments that are more powerful than GPT-4. That'll give us time for all these different AI labs and protocols and researchers to kind of get our shit together and create and sort of implement some like safety protocol and get it audited by some independent outside experts, right? So that's what this letter is. It's like a call to arms, or a call to pause arms, I should say. And I think that while it's great in an ideal world, there is no arguing that I think AI and the rapid development at which all of this technology has proven itself, it raises some extreme concerns, and there are safety
Hmm.
protocols needed around it. However, I don't think it's realistic, especially because this letter, by the way, is geared at US based organizations as well. So if US organizations and researchers stop pausing, or they pause their AI efforts, research efforts, what's going to happen to the rest of the world? Because I guarantee you that, Russia and China aren't going to be stopping anytime soon. So that definitely raises some questions. And then at the same time, I kind of feel like this is almost a cop out, because
I was gonna say that.
I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of these there's some organizations that are just now getting on board with AI, and they're like, "Oh shit.
Wait a second. Can you slow down for a second so that we can catch up?
Can we all pause and let's just
Just
all
hang
get
on.
our bearings, and it'll be fine. We'll figure it out." And I saw something on Reddit that was funny. It was like, "Here, I fixed the title for you. It should be Tech Pioneers Who Are Behind on Their Own AI Call for a 6-month pause of out of control AI development so that they can catch up."
Yeah, I mean, because it's
That's the real
Elon.
reason, let's be honest.
Elon has to be salty that he's behind on
Oh,
this. It's
yeah.
Elon Musk,
Do you know all of Elon's drama with OpenAI? He
right?
co-founded OpenAI, which is ChatGPT and
Right?
Dolly, and there's several other models under the OpenAI framework or brand. And he was pissed because, OpenAI is basically in the pocket of Microsoft now, right? Like,
Yeah.
Microsoft basically owns them. Microsoft is using all of their GPT models for their different AI tools like Bing, and it's definitely causing a riff for different reasons. But ironically, Elon Musk is saying things like, well, this isn't ever supposed to be what was supposed to happen with OpenAI. It was supposed to be an open resource for the public, for the benefit of humanity. Okay. I think that this is just him being like, what the fuck? And it's all of them. They're like, what the fuck? We need to actually wrap our brains around this. Otherwise, the rest of the world is just going to destroy us. OpenAI in itself is going to destroy everything. And
Hmm.
it's crazy. So it's definitely a spicy conversation. We had a great Twitter Spaces last Friday delving into this, and heard some really fantastic opinions, as well as some diverse opinions and input as well. So definitely go listen to that. But let us know what you think. I don't know if it's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to come of it yet, but I do think that on a global level, some protocol shaping is going to be taking place at some point soon. So that is what's happening with this open letter. And then the other AI news that we had this week is Midjourney, the famed, notorious text to image generator that you can access through Discord, the image generator that has created viral images of the likes of the Pope in a coat, if you remember, Pope in a Balenciaga,
It's
everyone
funny.
thought was real, and then Trump getting arrested, everyone thought was real, and it's kind of created like some serious chatter. And I think in for the first time in AI history, these were like the first major viral hoaxes of people thinking legitimately on a large massive scale that these are images are real. According to Midjourney, they are halting the brakes on any free subscription access going forward as of last week. And the reason is not because of these viral images. It's because a large number of users have been creating basically throwaway accounts to generate free images, because there's a certain limit that you can generate with a free account. And because of that, all of these throwaway accounts are causing service disruptions and affecting the experience of like paid users. So the team at Midjourney last week wrote an announcement in Discord saying, "Hey guys, we are pausing all free subscriptions until further notice." It's still not back yet. We don't know what the latest is, and we'll hopefully find out soon. But nonetheless, there's concerns about fake images, politically sensitive
Mhm.
content. And I think this is kind of like a wake-up call as well, where the company Midjourney is having to like reevaluate its moderation policies. Already it has a huge list of like banned words that you can and can't use, but ironically, celebrity likenesses and noteworthy faces are still allowed on there.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart move for them to shut down the free access, at least until they get their shit together. I pay for it. I think I pay like $10 a month, but the payment ranges anywhere from like $10 up to $60 a month, just depending on how much you use it and what the latency is that you're getting out of it. So safe to assume that Midjourney has some serious thinking to do, and we
Mhm.
shall update you when we find out. Had a few friends be like, "I can't do Midjourney images today." I'm like, "Yeah, I know it sucks.
Yeah.
Like upgrade, but it is what it is. Hopefully we'll get it back soon." But in the meantime, there's tons of other tools to check out. Adobe released Firefly a few weeks ago. That's
Mhm.
their first text to image generator that we reported on. Bing image generator is a good one. Leonardo's out there. Canva has its own.
Canvas is pretty good. It's not terrible.
Have you used the new AI feature? Because they did release a whole bunch of AI features a couple weeks ago, and one of them is like you can do the in painting, where you can generate an image or have an image that already exists that you put in there, and you can actually like erase part of the image, and then it'll generate a new piece of that image.
Oh, yeah, I have tried that.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
cool.
kinda cool. Yeah.
It's not perfect. You have to kind of play with it. You need like a really clean starting reference image, but it is cool, some of the stuff you can do. So if you can't use Midjourney anymore, definitely check out some of the alternatives. Lots of these platforms and tools have like free subscription tiers as well, so you can kind of like mess around with it. Or if you want to go really hard and just go all the way, check out Stable Diffusion. It's a standalone app. It's the model that a lot of these tools run their images on anyways. It is a little bit more of a learning curve because it's a little more complex, but it is like no boundaries on that one. There's like no filters, nothing. Like you can just do whatever you want and shit gets wild, let me tell you. Would not recommend Stable Diffusion unless you are an experienced AI image generation, expert. But that is it, I think. Anna,
Mhm.
anything else to add? I know that we had a couple like sauce snippets at the end, but we'll have people check in on the
You can read
newsletter to read
those.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, really quick headlines, including the Pepsi logo refresh.
Oh my god. I saw a whole, like, 20-minute video on the Pepsi refresh. I should link that one too. Just, like, how it came about via the Earth's magnetic
Oh
pull
yeah.
and all these different
Oh yeah.
circles. So
Yeah.
intense.
So you guys need to, if there's ever like a brand design strategy deck that you ever look at in your life, make it be Pepsi Cola's design strategy deck from 2008,
7, I think it was.
maybe. I think it's 8.
Okay. Okay,
Maybe,
Moonsate.
I don't know, whatever. It was when they did their last logo update, not this most recent one that they just rolled out last week, but the one before that was like 15 years ago. This design agency that they hired legitimately was they just like took a giant shit on a design doc and were like, here you go. And they probably charged millions of dollars for it.
Yeah, no, they did. I forget the exact number, but it was in the million range.
It's literally like 40 pages of like comparing Pepsi's brand to like Earth's magnetic fields and
Yes,
ancient
and the Mona Lisa. Yeah. It's like,
and
no.
different golden ratios. Like it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. I can just imagine the like designer who worked on this like laughing all the way to the bank, being like, they'll never know. They'll never know.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
they did. Yeah. How are they gonna know? They'll never know. So that is this week in the sauce, you guys. A little bit of a lighter week, but we powered through it. Lots of new updates, I'm sure, are going to be popping up. We're getting into the summer of AI, as it were. I've heard a couple media outlets calling it that. This open letter we talked about called it the summer of AI. So as that rolls around, definitely we're going to keep our ears to the ground and figure out what's happening, what you guys need to know about, any updates that are taking place. And of course, we'll always keep you in the know on the pulse of what's happening in social media as well for creators. So thanks for tuning in today, you guys. And Anna, thank you
guys.
for being here. We'll catch you guys
Thank
again
you.
back next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Hey guys, that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Sauce Pod. Hope you enjoyed yourself, maybe even learned a thing or two. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also subscribe to our newsletter that goes out every Monday night. All of the latest and greatest tips, news, and trends for content creators and digital entrepreneurs. Until next time, stay saucy.